Honda CBR1100XX vs Kawasaki Ninja ZX-12R vs Suzuki GSX1300R Hayabusa, comparison test. 1. Gathered before you is 460 horsepower and 545 miles per hour. You won't find another 3x3 comparison that has more of either of these thrilling commodities. But these bikes, the Honda CBR1100XX, Kawasaki Ninja ZX-12R and Suzuki GSX1300R Hayabusa, aren't just about success, they're also three of the smoothest, best all-around street bikes in the history of the wheel. Actually, make that three of the best vehicles, because there is nothing for sale, no license plate carrying conveyance capable of doing what these motorcycles can do. Particularly not for a roughly $11,000 asking price. You want quick? Give these bikes 10 seconds and they'll give you the quarter mile. The ton comes up in half that time. Versatility? How about a third gear that will work from 15 to 145 miles per hour? Yes, click the gearbox, 1 2 3, lug down to a parking lot crawl, then, should the fancy arise, whack the throttle WFO and peel the paint off your helmet, all in less time than it takes to exchange top of the morning pleasantries with your coworkers. Each will approach Honda, or better, Suzuki, Kawasaki, any other motorcycle made in both acceleration and terminal velocity, all while offering competent, sporty handling, great brakes and a comfy place to sit while watching the world ahead of you explode. 2. Seriously, though, these things are on the heavy side, each one a solid 100 pounds or more up on the Hunger Striker 1000cc Sport 4s featured elsewhere in this issue, and a similar amount beyond those yappy little sheets like 600s nipping at your toe sliders on Racer Road. But we've said it before, these road burners are a different kind of drug. The weight isn't the point, and if somebody gives you grief, the only response that matters is yes, but have you seen the dyno charts? It's like trying to explain your religious beliefs to somebody who disagrees with you. Horsepower works in mysterious ways, my brother. Plus, the extra poundage lends a certain Cadillac effect to the ride quality. And with so much space between the axles, there's plenty of room for your body, even if you've gotten a little portly. Still, ergonomically, each of these bikes represents some sort of compromise to help deliver the speed of which their manufacturers wish them to be capable: high pegs, low windscreens. So, the seat foam falls readily to sphincter on each when you light up full thrust for Super Pisco ground-bound flight. 150 comes way too quickly, with wind protection and ergos about as good as you could expect. 3. As mentioned, the great top speed war of the last century is over. Manufacturers agreed voluntarily to limit maximum production bike velocity to 300 km per hour, 186 miles per hour. So the fact that the ZX-12R finally went faster than a speed-limited Hayabusa, 186 miles per hour versus 184, simply isn't relevant. Besides, do you think you'd notice the difference? Even on the 176 mile per hour 20? As a note to the nutbags among you, devices are available to defeat the Buse's electronic limiter, which will unleash the last 8 to 10 miles per hour on the top end, because God knows you have to have it. It has a taller, more top-heavy feel than either the Honda or Suzuki, but after a few miles you just don't notice. It also has the snappiest, quickest revving engine, producing power sort of how one might expect a supernatural 750cc engine would. The 1199cc mill makes the most peak ponies by 3.6 bhp over the Busa, but only at the very top of its rev range. Lower down, the Suzuki makes more power sooner. The 1299cc Hayabusa also makes more torque, some 8 foot-pounds up at peak, while offering at least that much more twist from 3,500 to 8,500 revolutions per minute, right where it counts. Even after all these years, snapping the throttle open on the Hayabusa is still impressive, still incredible. 4. Add to this the Suzuki's kinder, more neutral steering chassis, and you've got quite the street riding experience. The fully adjustable suspension is firm, but it's more compliant and better balanced than the Ninja. Both feature full adjustability, the Ka even adding rear ride height shims. The Busa's brakes, meanwhile, were impressively powerful, but didn't offer the feel or initial bite of the Ninjas. Overall, though, the Suzuki is nearly as sporting, while being a little more comfortable and easier to ride than the Kawasaki. If you want to do both, the Hayabusa is the correct answer. Whatever you decide, may all your straightaways be long and unpatrolled. 5. Later fuel-injected Honda CBR1100XX models like this one had better throttle response and improved mid-range torque versus early carbureted versions. 6. Hopes were high for the Kawasaki Ninja ZX-12R on its initial launch. It didn't quite crush the Suzuki Hayabusa as many expected it might. The 12R did remain the most sport bike-like of this class. 7. When the Suzuki GSX1300R Hayabusa debuted, it changed the very definition of high performance. At the launch, Suzuki said the bike invented a new class which they called Ultimate Sport. We chuckled at the PR hyperbole. Until we rode the bike. Okay, then, Ultimate Sport it is. 8. All you have to do with the Honda to know it's pitched toward a slightly different end user is start with the rubber the Dunlop Sport Max tires say touring on the side. From there, move to the mostly non-adjustable suspension, just shock spring preload unrebound damping, and carry on to the pounds-linked brakes, where lever or pedal sends braking force to both wheels nice except in the most aggressive riding, when it tends to make the rear end a little lively entering corners. There's also some 20 bhp less power, although unless you plan a lot of head-to-head drags with Ninja or Hayabusa owners, you'll never notice the lack. What you will notice every time you ride the 20th is the fabulous refinement and smoothness of this motorcycle. Sure, all of these engines are smooth, but the 20th is simply better. Control feel is also fantastic, as though every pivot and moving part were rolling in perfectly machined bearings. And with damping this good, who needs adjustments? Like the others, the 20th has a sporty riding position, but the footpegs are the lowest. They were making that scraping sound through the last set of corners, unlike the other two bikes.